Hey Scrappers, it's Vanessa here with another process video, and I'm really excited to say that this is the last layout that I created with my In the Mood stash kit that I put together to use for February. If you're new to my channel and you don't know what I'm talking about, be sure after this video that you jump over and watch the In the Mood video that'll show you the mood board and the kit that I created to use for February. The first thing that I'm doing here is just showing you everything that I pulled from that kit that I think I'm going to use on this layout. And I really love how this one turned out. This was a really fun one. I was documenting the eclipse that happened this year back in August. And so the first thing that I'm doing here is I'm going to create just a few little embellishments that I'm going to later use on the page. I didn't have a whole lot of turquoise colored embellishments left in my kit, and I didn't really have anything left in the kit that was turquoise that I really wanted to use. Because this is sort of a sky picture and things like that, I really like the idea of using stars, and I had nothing like that left in my stash kit. So I figured I pulled the washi tape. Why not use it? So I'm taking just a white piece of cardstock, and it's just for my scrap bin. And I basically took first the turquoise polka dot washi tape, and I just put a couple of strips of that down and lined it up so that it looks pretty seamless once it's down on the white cardstock. And I just go ahead and proceed to punch a couple of little stars, as you see there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the, it's kind of like a triangle pattern, turquoise and white washi tape. You can see it there in the video. It did not want to unroll this one. So I'm going to put the same process. I'm going to just put 2 strips of this one because it's wider down on the white cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and just punch out those little stars. And they make the perfect little embellishment on the page. So I really like how that turned out, and it was super easy and allowed me to use up some washi tape, which never seems to ever run out. But it's great to use washi tape if you don't have a specific color embellishment and you have punches. Put it on white cardstock, make your own. It's the perfect way to use it. I always find I have washi tape and I have the best of intentions to use it, but I don't seem to do it. I don't know why. Now here I was just showing you, when I did the washi tape, I kept right on going and I cut all the mats for my photo, and for whatever reason my video stopped recording. So you just missed me cutting all the various pattern papers that I pulled and showed at the beginning for the mat on my photo. So you didn't really miss anything. And now I have taken my background, which is a turquoise piece of cardstock, and then that circle paper, I actually cut that out of the middle of the piece of paper that I used on my first In the Mood layout. And so I used the edge of that paper as the background piece of that first layout, and I knew I wanted to use the inside piece, which is like a star map for a layout all on its own. Later on, I didn't know it was going to be this one, but I was really glad when I remembered that I had the eclipse picture, and so I knew this would be the perfect paper to use for it. So all I'm doing here is I wanted to add a little, I didn't want to stitch all the way around the circle since I've done that in the past. I wanted to do something different. So I just did some little crisscross, some little cross detailing with some embroidery floss in just three places on the page, and I just do 3 little X's, and it just adds that little extra texture, little extra detail. Following the mood board, it pulls in, gives me that texture element that I like. The other elements from the mood board, the circular elements and obviously the colors. So I really liked what that added. So I'm just going to show you here really quickly. Everybody's sort of seen how to do hand stitching. So I'm just going to go in through that first hole and then down. And I'm just going to continue to do that in the 3 areas. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. I'm just going to do, I think, the first one here, and then I will cut to where it is done, and I will proceed with the rest. And so the next thing that I'm going to do here, after I've shown you, yep, I've done the 3 little areas, I'm going to now mat this turquoise piece of cardstock, which I've cut down probably just 1/4 inch around all the edges. I'm going to mount that to that stripe pattern paper, and that was, at this point, being the last layout that I was creating, that was the last 12 by 12 piece of cardstock that I still had left as a full sheet in my kit. So I have no 12 by 12 pieces of paper left in my kit, so I'm very excited. I definitely will say, when I do the video as the wrap up, I did not kill the kit, but that wasn't my intention. I did use most of the pattern paper that I pulled, so I'm pretty happy about that. And as usual, when I go to lay down my paper, it does not go down straight the first time. I have a knack for always putting it on crooked. I swear I can never mat my layouts without something being crooked and having to fix it at least once. So eventually I'm going to get this down. And there you go. It is finally down. I don't know if it's 100% straight still, but it's good enough for me. And then the other thing that I did do, and I did it around the turquoise piece of paper, but I didn't show it. I'm just putting a little distress ink in Chip Sapphire around all the edges of these photo mats. I think the Chip Sapphire is probably the distress ink I use the most for this kit. It seemed to always go really well with all the colors that I'd pulled. Unless I was aiming toward the pink side, I think the Chip Sapphire turned out to be the ink of choice for anything that I happen to ink the edges on. So I'm just going to go ahead here and mat all the layers for my photo. I do have the very first layer on that photo is a piece of that Tim Holtz tissue paper with all the text on it. I really, really love that tissue paper. It really just adds, again, just some different texture to this layout. So I really do like that. And this layout is heavily matted. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mats, I think, in total, but I really like it. It really makes the photo stand out. And before I put down that last mat, I did go ahead and take a doily from my kit and put that in between those 2 layers. Again, adding more texture, just more interest to the layout. I really like that. For once, I am also going to take a Project Life card, and goodness knows I have a million Project Life cards, but I'm going to finally use a Project Life card that I pulled in my kit, and I'm going to use it for my journaling, which I'm not even going to cut it up. I'm actually just going to use it for my journaling. So, and that is where it's going to land, is right there where I have it. I am not going to glue everything down on the layout. I'm going to lay everything out. So you'll see, because I'm not laying it and gluing it down, everything's moving as I'm sort of laying out how it's going to look. But I want you to get a sense of here's how it's going to look, and then I'll go ahead and glue it off camera so that you don't have to watch sort of all of that. You can kind of see the process that I'm doing, but I'm not making you watch the gluing down of each piece. So kind of cuts out a little bit of that boring part of, hey, I'm just going to glue everything down kind of thing. So I'm going to lay out everything for the layout. And this one is relatively simple. I don't know. There's kind of 3 clusters, I would say. You'll kind of see as I go along. There's kind of a 3 cluster system going. Most of the embellishing for this layout is star themed. I figured outside, Eclipse, why not? Stars work. The paper has stars in the background, so hey, I'm going to keep with the theme and use these little stars that I punched. I have some wood veneer stars that I'm going to use. And so I'm just going to put them in these 3 clusters that I'm going to have on the page. I took that chipboard camera. It's again one of those chipboard pieces that I've had kicking around in my stash for a long time, and I'm finally getting it used up. So once I've kind of got everything laid out, you can see how it is. That is how it will look in the final pictures. And you're all going to laugh as you watch me now putting down my title. And I don't know, I must have been really tired when I was doing this, because I don't know why I was thinking Eclipse has a U in it, but you know, for whatever reason, I do correct it. See, I do. But then if you're looking, you see that I have put the E and the S in the wrong place. I promise I do notice this when I go to glue it down, and I do fix it. So yeah, that is where the title goes. And I really like that it's on a curve on the circle. I really do like how that turns out. I know you don't have to yell as you're watching this video and saying it's not spelled right. Yeah, I do fix it, I promise. So I'm gonna go ahead and get everything laid out here for the title. And then, like I said, I'm going to glue it off camera. And then and these are those Heidi Swap chipboard letter stickers, and they do not stick. I mean, every time I would move, they would move. It was driving me crazy. The last thing that I'm going to add to this page, however, is some sequins, and I'm just pulling out of the sequins that I pulled for my kit. I'm just taking the blue sequins, and I'm going to grab 3 for each cluster. And I'm actually covering up the center of that camera had a little gold heart, and I really didn't want that. So I wasn't putting any gold on this page at all. So I just used the sequin to cover that up, and I really like how that turned out. It gave it a little bit of sparkle on the page. So like I said, I glued everything down, and see, I have in fact fixed the title. It's spelt right. I popped everything up on foam underneath the photo to add that dimension, because I also have frames giving it some height anyway. And that completes the layout. So here are the still pictures, and if you like this video, make sure you subscribe so you can see what else I create with my next kit, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.